for it.
Leeds fans, like and subscribe to when Saturdays comes.
Well, Chris, first of all then, in between matches, on the injury front, is everybody okay as we look forward to Blackburn?
Yeah, the only one that will miss out tomorrow is Ben Berrett Diaz, who's got a virus. So nothing from an injury point of view that will make him miss any of the playoff games. So, but he'll miss out. He's not trained this week, so he's getting back to where he should be, but he's the one that misses out.
If I can just check on Tom Davis' availability, you said a couple of weeks ago he's sort of not so far off.
Yeah, he'll be involved in the group and he'll be getting minutes tomorrow afternoon.
As we tick towards the playoffs, what have you noticed in training, if you like, in how the lads are, mood-wise, confidence-wise, mentality-wise?
I couldn't have wished them to be in any better place, if I'm honest, in terms of the group, the mentality and the energy, which is the biggest thing. I talked about it after the Burnley game, I think leading up to the Stoke game, how they reset pretty quickly and focused on the task in hand, which was to finish the season on a high. Important to get into the 90s. To get over 2 points per game is really incredibly important to all of us. No medals for doing that, understandable, but I think that just represents what a good season we've had. And I've been asked this question many a time in terms of the challenges that we've had right the way through, and I think there's been some incredible challenges, and I do at times think it goes under the radar in terms of what we've had to overcome right the way through, the challenges from right the way through, and our supporters have known all those challenges. Some of them don't want to acknowledge it. I get that, but the majority do. Internally in the game, it is acknowledged as well, in the division and by football people. So always reflection is done after game 46, but I'll maybe break it a little bit to do it after game 45. It's been an outstanding season. So the two games are really important. I thought we were really good against Stoke. The supporters were better than the performance. The support that we had that night, and I don't know why it was. And I said afterwards in my interview, it was a little bit of trepidation when you sort of walked out onto the pitch, how it would all be. But they really gave us an incredible amount of energy and backed us right the way through, which was fabulous. And the players talked about that and felt the energy. And I thought the performance was really good against a team that had something to play for. But we had something to play for as well, which getting back to winning ways, which we did in a really good fashion, and onto Saturday as well. I think over 32,000 tickets sold for the last game of the season, and still we want to finish on a high. Home record has been pretty good, pretty solid. All the things that I talked about, and to keep that going. The challenges over this little period, to get vital minutes into players, to rest certain players, which we have done, to get back to winning wage, which we have done, to finish on a high, hopefully, with a really positive front foot performance on Saturday lunchtime.
I wonder if there's been a benefit to Sheffield United that both Stoke and indeed Blackburn Rovers have had something on that game, so it doesn't become an almost a non-contest, if you like.
Well, there's never a non-contest from our point of view, and the only thing that we can control is our attitude and approach to the game. And there were some big challenges that went in on Friday night, and we never pulled out of any of them. And the boys, have they done all season, through good times and bad times, gave everything for the football club. And one of the things that I did talk about was what happened last year, what type of season it was, what a Sheffield United player looked like last year to compare to what a Sheffield United player looked like this year, and what a Sheffield United team looked like as well. And I get it that the Premier League is unforgiving and it's brutal and it beats you up and spits you out, and I get that. But compared to what it was last season, compared to what it is this season, I like to think that the supporters more than anything understand where we've got that back to, and how I want it to look as a Sheffield United manager, and our supporters. Not always we have got the right results. Not always we have played, to our utmost capabilities and got 9 out of 10 performances. But very rarely you do that in a season. I've been consistent with that. But to get into the 90s, to get those points, and maybe, 95, 96, 97 points. I know everybody will talk about that week, and it was a real disappointing week. But maybe even if we'd have won 2 out of 3, maybe that wouldn't have been enough. So we'll never know. But we have an unbelievable challenge ahead of us. And going back to your original question, the energy in the group, the excitement in the group with what they can achieve. There's no negativity at all in any of the players. There's certainly nothing from my point of view, recognising the season that we've had and the things that we can achieve going into the next, hopefully, next 3 weeks.
What do you think it says? This is kind of a slightly sweeping statement, but teams that have to win the championship or gain automatic promotion, the points tallies for those teams is getting higher, it seems, each year. So even low 80s these days, well, actually, you're pushing 90 to have to try and get over the line. Well,
especially over the last couple of seasons, yeah. Leeds United not getting in there on 90 odd points and having to go through the playoffs. And yeah, the size of that club and the resources that club has got, and Southampton as well. The playoff final. To really established football teams that had, been in the Premier League recently as well, and done enough to get in there. So it's to win promotion is really tough. It's really tough, and especially when we talk from our point of view. And I think this is one of the biggest challenges, really, that maybe has gone under the radar, is that and I think all you can do is go back to your experiences, and the team that got us up in 18-19 was put together in 16, in the summer of 16. The team that I do believe would have gone straight back up at the start of the season, obviously with the change of manager and change of style, and obviously the disappointing start to that campaign, and then back to where it should have been, really, in my opinion. And I do believe, and I had this conversation, sort of the final moments that was at the club the first time, was what needed to be done because I think everybody recognised that most probably the outcome of it would be in the COVID season. No supporters at Bramall Lane, that we would have ended up being relegated, which obviously was the case. But what needed to be done to get straight back up, to keep everybody, if we lost 1 or 2, to reinvest and to sign some good loan players, which is, I think, Andy, is quite a model that a lot of teams have done. I spoke to Sean Dyche at Burnley about what he did. West Brom did it, and Fulham did it as well. The old sort of bounce back, and I'm sure Sheffield United would have done it to keep everybody. But that team had been going for sort of 4 or 5 years. This team was put together basically a week before the start of the season, So there's always going to be teething problems. So the build is maybe not being recognised, and the way we play as well, to go from one style of playing with no wingers in terms of playing with a 3 or a 5, or however you want to look at it, and 3 midfield players, to go into to play that way. So the challenges that we've had right the way through, and how difficult it is to win a league, and if we're going to finish maybe 2 wins off 100 points, really, I can't really be beating our players up about their performances and their efforts, as well as we talk about getting back to what a Sheffield United team looks like.
We'll come on to Blackburn in a sec. Gus Harmer, as an individual, has had a trophy-laden week, and acknowledgements of what he's done this year. Just sum that up, and perhaps the impact that he's had here and as a difference maker within this team.
Well, you do need those. You need your water carriers always, we ask everybody to be a water carrier as well from a physical point of view, but you do need your players to get those big moments and produce those big moments. And it can be from any part of the pitch. We had big moments from goalkeepers this season, big moments from midfield players, from wide players, big moments from big players, and Gus has produced those for us, and that's why he's been presented with these awards. The position that he plays suits him and suits us. I know it's been talked about in certain circles, but for him to be part of that team that's hopefully going to get those points that we're after, and for him to produce the performances and putting him in a position where he can produce those big moments. But ultimately, he's the one that has to find those, and he's certainly found those. And he's going to be a big player, a massive player for us in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And yeah, you have to be good as a team. You have to be good from a unit point of view. You have to be good as an individual. But ultimately, big games are decided by big players, and he's certainly one of a few that we have got in the club.
Blackburn, well, it looked like they were on for a mid-table finish, but they've had quite the dramatic uplift recently. Why and how?
Well, they've got good players, so they wouldn't have got to the position that they got to at the start. A change of manager, and maybe from Ishmael's point of view, getting his fingerprints on it and putting his own messages towards his players sometimes takes time. But they've had good players right the way through the campaign, and maybe one of the only teams really, I would say them and Millwall, that have not really stuttered recently in this sort of period, and picked up some big wins. So the challenge ahead of us, and obviously what they've got to play for as well. But at home, us in the position that we're in, the points tally that we've got, we're confident if we can produce one of our better performances, that we have that opportunity to win. But of course, it's definitely something on it for them, and I think we've all looked at the permutations, what can happen if they win, and maybe the outcome of a positive result for them. But there's nothing in that from our point of view. We're full tilt. There's places to be played for. There's 30-odd thousand supporters to maybe appease is not the right word, to maybe reward for the backing that we've had at home and away. And we're on our own patch, and whatever the game, whatever competition it is, whatever time of the year, the attitude has to stay consistent.